Riding divine horses, yes, the forces of the sun. With gentle touch, it means so much to bring our faith into this reality. We set each other free. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Eagles Nest podcast. It is June 12th. The year is 2022. We're filming live from the San Luis Valley, the UFO superhighway. Seeing some pictures in the intro there. We have a UFO watchtower here, a couple meteor impact sites, obviously majestic Mount Blanca and everything here, and the Great Sand Dunes, subject of several programs on Gaia and whatnot. And yeah, it's just a great place to live. But we're definitely I talked about a little bit last show. We're going to be moving locations soon. Don't know where that's going to be at, but definitely moving locations of our church and Eagles Nest podcast and our homestead. You know, we're looking for greener pastures and some more woods and stuff like that. So things are opening up. Man, it's just so much has been happening today. I'm sure there's going to be some people listening tonight that I was talking to today, and yeah, so I gotta be just super careful. But I'm just like, all I can say is I got some exciting projects I'm working on, so stay tuned. And yeah, this is a project I have been waiting to be involved in for so long, and I can't wait to get into it. I wish I could tell you guys more, but just stay tuned for sure. Yeah. Anyways, we have a special guest for us tonight. We have a good veteran brother of mine that we were serving exactly actually at the same time. The time when the Nimitz incident and everything was going on. I was getting ready to go to Iraq, or was in Iraq. I was in Iraq January 2005. So time when all this was taking place in the background before it was released to the public. When people were actually experiencing it, was actually the same time I was in the military. So definitely a veteran brother here with me tonight is going to join us in just a moment. His name is Kevin Day. He was on the USS Princeton during the famous Nimitz Tic Tac event off the coast of Catalina Island. I believe it's 2004. So that he is going to join us here in just a moment, and he just was involved in a documentary that was recently released, A Terror in the Sky. I had the pleasure to watch that over the weekend, getting ready for this conversation, and yeah, we got some amazing synchronicities that I found from the film. It was a great film, and I definitely see a huge audience that it can reach for sure. We're gonna talk about that here in just a moment when I bring him on. But first, I want to talk about let you know who's coming up on Eagles Nest podcast next Sunday. We got Ruben Langdon. He was the stunt double for Jake in the first Avatar movie. He is also the creator and host of a program on Gaia called Interviews with Extra Dimensionals. He interviews people as they channel beings from higher dimensions, other planets, and basically talk through these physical beings. As most of you guys know, who know my history and everything of channeling. I'm definitely a believer in it. It's happened to me. It's unexplainable how it happens, when it happens, but it just does. And well, he's going to be on next weekend, next Sunday. You definitely gonna have to tune in for him. After that, coming up, we got Sev Talk. She's a MUFON MUFON extraordinaire. She is a director, a state director, and she's also what mostly we're going to be talking about is her experiences, personal experiences, and what she's experienced through her time working with MUFON. Also, we're going to be talking about she's going to MC and is the head of a conference coming up in Denver, right up the road from me, in July. I believe it's 8th, 9th, and 10th is the MUFON Symposium up in Denver, Colorado. As you all know, I will be speaking at Stardust Festival in Golden, Colorado, right close there, right up by Denver. I have a feeling I probably will be making a pop in at the MUFON Symposium. So if you're around that area and plan on going to the symposium, have a look out for me. But don't be looking out for the dreads. That's one thing that's just changed, and I know that's. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I cut off all my dreads. That happened just the other day. Uh, it's I got a few questions why. Basically, just because they were hot, and I felt like it was time for them to come off. I feel much freer. There's been a lot happen spiritually and everything. So, cut my hair. I got to leaving room for new growth. So, a little bit different. Some other updates about Eagles Nest podcast. We are now up to 1080p. We have upgraded program for StreamYard, so now we're streaming in 1080p. Also, tonight I decided to stream through our Facebook accounts. My personal Facebook account, streaming live, and Sacred Dreams Within. So, just trying to get this message out there and let my brother Kevin share his story in a safe environment. And a veteran, him being a veteran, is I definitely feel that this is always a safe place for everybody to share, but especially veterans. I always because I've been through a lot of the same things and kind of can relate, especially just how everything's work. So we're gonna get into that in just a moment. But let's see who else we have coming up. Oh, we got my friend Charles from Florida. Excuse me, from Florida. He heads up a ketamine treatment facility in Florida. Has been operating a few years, helping veterans and others deal with traumas and PTSD through a legal ketamine treatment facility. He has doctors on his facility now, and I think he's starting other offices other than his first one they started. So he's just doing amazing work down there in Florida. We're going to have him on soon to tell his story. And Brad Olson, just been speaking with him. Haven't locked down a date, but definitely confirmed that he is going to be on the show sometime soon. Just got to get a date over to him. Yeah, I think there's just so many people. I lose track. And yeah, but up next we got Ruben Langdon and Seb Talk coming up. Those are going to just be amazing. Oh, and yeah, July 10th, we're going to take this studio camera, maybe a little mic setup, and take it live to the Stardust Fest, and we're going to be streaming live from the Stardust Fest that night. Um, doing a live podcast from the Stardust Fest. So it's who knows who's going to be there walking around, and yeah, we're just going to see what the universe has to bring to us, and that's going to be an interesting show, July 10th, from the Stardust Fest. If you don't make it out to see me in person, make it out to see me in person. I'll be speaking live at 11 a.m. I'd be the first speaker of that event, kicking it off. So show up. It's a one-day event, Golden, Colorado Stardust Fest. But without further ado, I want to bring in my brother Kevin Day. I've already wasted 11 minutes of this 2 hours, which I know we don't have enough time to unpack all this in 2 hours. We probably have to bring him back if he will come on. But yeah, let's get into this. Let's just dive right into it and welcome our guest, Kevin Day. Ladies and gentlemen, my veteran brother, Kevin Day.
Aloha. Let me adjust my view here just a tad so you guys can see me. And very much appreciate the offer to be here, and I'm honored by it, Drew. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being on, Kevin. And yeah, just when this whole Nimitz thing broke and the people that were involved started coming out a few years ago, it was just amazing to me that people, especially in the military, and that's me being in the military, I don't have any particular experiences that happen in the military. Just to get it off the table right off, but I get asked that a lot. But to I know the stigmata of the corporation, the whole corporation, and when you come forward with things like this, to have the courage and heart that you have to share it, it just says so much about you. I'm just so honored to have you on.
Thank you. And on that note, just to provide some context of when that happened in November 2004, I had almost 16 years of actual sea time behind that radar system. It was my fourth Aegis radar Spy 1 ship, and a lot of experience. I was one of the top trainers, and my job was to train air defense watchstanders in strike group operations. I had never seen anything. I was up on watch, and it just so happens it was one of my very last watches in the Navy out of hundreds, thousands, because I was getting ready to transfer and go work for the Admiral. Then I was going to retire and go get a job defense contracting. I was up in combat. Go ahead.
No, it's just that's just crazy how it works out. It was towards the end, and you probably spent days and hours. You probably fell asleep and woke up so many times in front of a screen. You couldn't even lost count of it. But over those 16 years, and then something like this happens. But I want to back up just a moment. I want to back up just a moment. I want to ask about Kevin. Like, how's Kevin? Like, what's Kevin doing today? Like, does he like to take walks, hikes? Like, is he working on a book? Like,
well, this is a long story, so I was trying to provide some context with what happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, anomalous contacts. We didn't really. We thought it was something civilian related. But it wasn't published in the NOTAMs, the Notice to Air Traffic, Air Mariners, until the day we were going to do an air defense exercise. And up until then, we didn't even have aircraft on the Nimitz, so I wasn't worried. They were coming through the airspace, but I wasn't worried about them. We're reporting on the data links. We're going to do an air defense exercise, and that's when I became concerned. I was worried about safety of flight, and sure enough, we intercepted these things, and the rest is history. And after I did retire, I raised my hand in meetings and I said, "Hey guys, we got a safety issue off the southern coast of California here." And they're like, "What do you mean, Kevin?" And then when I would try to explain what happened, I got laughed at, man.
So what the day of the incident that the strike group intercepted the Tic Tacs. How many days before that were they being tracked before the incident when Captain Fravor's group intercepted them?
4 days, and they appeared in groups of 5 to 10 off the east coast of Catalina, 28,000 feet, all tracking south about 100 knots. Every single one of them disappeared over Guadalupe Island off the coast of Mexico, and they appeared in groups of 5 to 10, and over the course of about from the 10th to the 18th, I have it written down somewhere. If you counted up all the groups, it was about 100 contacts altogether during that time period.
That all happened before the actual incident the incident
was right in the middle. The incident was right. We tracked them before and after the incident.
Before and after. So it was a total of 4 days. Wow. Amazing.
Before, yeah.
Amazing.
So anyway, you had asked me, what am I doing now? Okay, so I was trying to lead up to that point.
Sorry, I don't want to mess up your flight. Just go ahead.
Okay, so I got frustrated. I was in defense contracting to get hired right away, and I tried to bring it up. Same result. I got so frustrated. One of my bosses asked me, "Kevin, what have you been smoking?" And I got, oh God, it hurt so bad. I can't even. It's hard to even express it. So anyway, I quit. I decided I was going to go to school and just do something else. So I had some time before I was going to school, and I became obsessed with this idea that I could find the source of gold at an old family mining claim here in Southern Oregon. And I became so obsessed. I ended up basically my wife ended up leaving me at the time, the wife of 20 years. I was penniless. I was homeless because I lost a lot of money in the housing crash. And all of a sudden, everyone in my family in my old college thought I had gone insane. What happened to Kevin? He was on track to retire in Hawaii and he's living in the wilderness. Well, you know what, Drew? Uh, I can't explain it, but that research that I did is now caught the interest of some very high level and well connected people because what I discovered was um, mineral deposits, gold and rare earths that originated from the mid Pacific plates in the form of spreading arcs is called an ophiolite. And what that is, that ground's heavy. So instead of getting um, abducted onto continental plates, an ophiolite actually just the opposite. Instead of getting subducted under the continental plates, it gets abducted and stuck on dry land, and that's what it is. This thing is massive, goes from Northern California to Southern Washington. Anyway, long story short, what I'm doing now, so time went by, and the SpaceX came about. Elon Musk, they're going to take a SpaceX flight and go on what they're calling the Dare Moon mission. And so I went ahead and applied, and I sent him all my research, and I suggested, hey, perhaps this new technology, because he's putting in the tunnels between LA and Las Vegas under the ground, that new boring technology. What if you were to repurpose this? You can mine deposits like the one, and he has my mining research without ever touching the above ground. And I was outside about 4 days later, and I noticed a very odd aircraft flying back and forth, and I can send you the photographs of it. I have it tracked on satellite radar over the wilderness, and I found out later it was a NASA flight on a geodetic mission. Somebody is out here mapping my research because I believe there's a massive strike about to be made, and that's what I'm doing now.
I, well, I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that it has some connection to the incident. You
Huh.
know, but
I've only
definitely.
I've only thought
th-
that
th-
recently myself. I was slow to connect some of these dots, and that's one of my concerns. You remember, Drew? My concern right now is, and the reason why I really need to speak out is because there was one point when no one was sure of my sanity. I mean, think about what happened to me, and all of a sudden I'm where doing what, and with no explanation because I hadn't connected the dots. I wasn't a UFO guy. I mean, come on. But my concern now, just what if there was
yeah,
a sudden mass earth-wide contact from these things and everybody on the planet started changing like I did suddenly out of the blue and nobody knew why or how. My brother,
I
that might not end so well.
I
So,
think I think it might end well. I don't know. I'm very spiritual. Like, so my awakening. If you might not know me so well, but like my awakening come through ayahuasca, and then I started having contact, and then I had a face to face contact, and I started having dreams of being. Then I had a dream of that contact from the other point of view. So from the ET's point of view, I had the same interaction I had, but through his eyes, and I learned multidimensionality, all kinds of stuff. I wrote a couple books. That's how I got through it. So I don't know. I see what's happening right now as something very positive, but I also it's very important to point out that uh, my beliefs, it definitely says that anything that happens is always connected. So undoubtedly, when you were part of this historic event, that really is you're gonna go down as history as a very integral part of a first eyewitness of this event. It definitely has implications on your path. I wouldn't go so far to say if they were negative though. I really don't believe in that. I want to ask you about your opinion on the Tic Tacs. Do you fully believe that they were from off planet, or do you, is there a part of you that may think that they are secret technology that we were testing?
Well, let me go back a little bit, if I could. Wasn't quite finishing my thought. Um,
Sorry about that.
Contact with these UAPs is a double-sided coin. It, and if you're changed enough and you don't know why, it can go wrong for that person.
Mhm.
However, and it's in the research now, UAP changes you and in good ways too, man. You suddenly get new inspirations, like I did with this gold mining find. Um, New ideas, new abilities, if believe it or not, new talents, believe it or not, because
I get,
and the research is pointing to now. We're wondering why. Well, what they think is happening is the synapses in our brains are getting tuned up, and pre-existing pathways that are already wired in us are getting tuned up, and suddenly you walk away from this thing a better person. That's the other side of the coin.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
you asked me what I think they are. Was that your question?
The Tic Tacs, the Tic Tacs that were part of the incident from the Nimitz. Do you think it's a possibility that that could be reverse engineered technology that we are working on in secret, or are you certain that it is off planet?
I'm not certain of either, but my very, 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 very strong suspicion is that it's not us in terms of human. And the reason why I say that, if it's us with technology that we're experimenting with, well, then we've had this stuff for how many decades now? That just doesn't make sense. It's illogical.
Yeah, I got you. And
But this isn't the first time we've seen UFOs. Okay, so
can
from
you
credible people, incredible people.
it, I don't know if you have the off the top of your head, but can you share with the audience the trajectories and the speeds that you witnessed recording of these crafts from the Nimitz incident?
Absolutely. They they were tracking in groups going at 28,000 feet, real slow and 100 knots, which from watching aircraft all those years, I'm a Top Gun and graduate, air controller. Usually things at 28,000 feet don't go 100 knots. If they do, they're going to fall out of the sky instead. So they were just making a boring transit, but I was concerned about safety of flight because that's when we're doing an air defense operation. That's kind of the altitudes we're going to play in, right? Very concerned about safety of flight. And remind me of the question. I got carried away.
I
Ask
wanted
your
you
question.
if you could share it with the audience, the trajectory
Oh
and
yes.
speed
Oh,
and speeds that you
I
witnessed the crafts of the Tic Tacs.
got you. So got you. So Commander Fravor happens to be the first one to launch. As a commander of the Fast Eagle Squadron, he was just that kind of guy. So he launches. We take control of his aircraft. I'm doing the control supervising, and he's almost intercepted. And as soon as he's in visual range of the object that I took him to, the closest one to our ships, that thing fell. Whatever it is, I'm not claiming I know because I don't. It went from 28,000 feet down to the surface of the water, and some people are saying actually went in the water. That wasn't my situational awareness. I found out later. I knew it was fast, but I found out the next morning it was 0.78 seconds. No sonic boom.
So it went from 28,000 feet to water in how long now?
0.78, less than a second.
Wow.
No sonic boom. And so he
Wow.
goes chasing
So
it, and at the end of the intercept, it's right in front of him, and this is his testimony. Okay, right in front of him disappeared, and you know what happened? In air defense, we have these points. Like if this is the threat going that I'm expecting a threat that way, but the ships are this way. We set up combat air patrol stations to help. They're set up already to protect us, right? This object, whatever he had intercepted, ended up going to his combat air patrol station.
and how far away was that?
Exactly on it too. That long altitude, everything, and just sat
And
there.
how far away was that from
Uh,
where did
from where the intercept happened at the time, it was probably um, less than 50 miles.
so
It wasn't too
just to
far.
be clear, it disappeared and reappeared at a point that is pre-designated and very very held top secret among the top echelon on the boat, and only those need to know. Correct. This is the
That's
the
correct.
the the, the coordinates of that meeting is very held secret.
That's correct. Yep.
So yeah, that's
So what?
ooh, that
And
that gives me chills, man. Like when
well, I think it was
I
I think it was a message to be understood now. In other words, whatever these things are, human intention can affect them somehow. And the reason why I wanted to discuss this too, Drew, is because I'm sure you've heard of UAPX and our expedition down to Southern California.
mhm.
And I personally believe the reason why we did capture UAP, I don't know if you've seen the movie A Terror in the Sky, and I highly
I
recommend watching it.
I
Um,
did. We're gonna
yeah.
definitely got to get into that.
And I believe the reason why we found stuff is because we intended to. It's that simple.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I believe right now that the phenomenon, and I believe the phenomenon is much more than UAP. You know, I believe it's a much bigger story than just the crafts themselves. I think it goes much larger than what people really understand.
Me
And
too.
we're definitely gonna get into that. But I did catch I watched a few documentaries over the weekend. Uh, it's one of my first times I can actually say I'm working and watching UFO documentaries as part of my work. It was I checked it out. It was uh it was good. I liked I definitely see how it can reach a large audience. Um, you know, the people that need to see stuff happening on the spot and know that's only done within a 5 hour, a 5 day time span and everything. I think it was put together very well for what it is for sure.
Caroline Corey, she's my hero. Um,
Yeah,
you know, God bless her. She didn't have to do this, but what she did for me really, really helped me, and I'll never be able to repay the great gratitude. I mean, suddenly I'm believed. I can't even express how good that feels
I I think
because it really happened. This really happened.
and
When I, you know,
and
in 2008, in another part of the story, and I had direct evidence. I went on with my life in 2008. I said, I know what I'll do. I'll write this I'll write a short story about this whole thing, and I'll fictionalize it, and I'll publish it in the Library of Congress just in case. Well, it also got it off my chest in a good, positive way. But I published the Tic Tac encounter in a form of a short story in the Library of Congress in 2008, just in case the story ever became public. My book would be proof that it really did happen. So I went on and I started volunteering at the local golf course 2017, walking out with a plate of fish and chip. Somebody had turned off the golf. I was like, who turned to see it? And I didn't even get CNN out of my mouth before I dropped the plate because there was Commander Favor talking about the Tic Tacs. And I yell out, hey, I got to go because I knew I had evidence. There was no way I could sit still and let him twist in the wind when I had direct evidence that really happened.
I I did I don't have the same experience, but I had the same experience. You know, like like I did two tours in Iraq, one in 2005 in Baghdad, one in 2007. I was a forward observer, and I also called in airstrikes from helicopters and C-130 Spectre gunships. I actually have experience doing this in combat, and for me to start, I think I started in 2018 or 19 talking about my experiences of spirituality and contact and all this stuff. I started to lose a lot of family. You know, I have two children that are not really a part of my life, older children. I have a new child that is just such a blessing to me, that just turned 5 months yesterday. But I have two other children that are greatly affected of the stigmata, not only around the UFO, but the spirituality thing. and just how it's viewed. So I can't say I totally understand what you've been through, but I can understand what you're feeling, brother. I really do. And I think a lot of us right now are having this moment, especially with the videos being released from the Nimitz, other videos that are being released. There's been just a recently Apache video that was released from 2013. I was working in conjunction with a border patrol agent that had three crafts. Yeah, there's just more and more people releasing uh, their footage. I've had a few people reach out uh, and have give me their footage on want me to put it out on my platform. And I have one that was from one pretty good video that's up on. I just posted a few months ago. That's up on my YouTube page. You guys can go check it out after the show. But this is your your braveness of opening up even before it was uh, confirmed by anyone else. You were stepping out in braveness to tell your story because you felt the fire burning. I can deeply feel that, man. Like I got messages, in different ways, and I could not deny them. There's a point when you cannot deny them, and you have to go like with your inner voice, and whatever that sounds like to people that may understand. It may sound like a certain way, but if you've been through it, you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of my a lot of my audience has been through similar stuff. Like I know that your story is really a testament, and it helps people share their story. Just as me share my story and so on and so forth. So we're always in service, And one thing I learned through my journey, I learned the real reason. I've always been a warrior. I always will be a warrior. But my definition of warrior changed greatly through my spiritual awakening, and now I really understand my true path as a warrior and what the real definition of a warrior is. And yeah, I think you can kind of recognize what I'm talking about, brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amen. Amen. I, I don't have a religion, and I have reasons for that based on my youth and stuff. But I do tell God thank you every day, many times a day, and I'm often in tears when I do it. I feel so
Hmm.
blessed, and I know who I serve. Let me tell you that.
Hmm. Beautiful, man. That's beautiful. So let's get into the recent project that just got released. I just watched it. Carolyn Corey's headed up. You were on there with Will Shatner. Was you were bumping shoulders with him in as part of the documentary? Um, Man, and to share your story on that platform, you did a beautiful job. Let's get into it. Like, how was that? How did that come about? Was it divine intervention?
Yeah, I think so. That's what Caroline said.
Yeah,
It just seemed like it came together in her words divinely, and and, and those aren't my words, but it was so new to me. I thought they always went that smoothly, but apparently no. This thing, Dave Altman was a big player in it. He basically got everyone connected that needed to be connected. My From my company, I'm getting a phone call. This is common for me. Sorry.
no worries.
Get off. All right, sorry about that. Where was I?
Dave Altman.
Oh yeah, Dave Altman got us all connected, and we were getting set up to do expeditions to do exactly this because David Mason, the guy on our team, has um, so much surveillance equipment you would not believe it. It's in the movie. A lot of it's proprietary and invented by him, and we were getting ready to go down there anyway. Of course, we were looking for funding, and she stepped forward and said, "Hey guys, if you let me make a movie, I'll fund the whole darn thing." And
That's
there you
amazing.
go. That's what happened. Yep.
I've been dying. Man, I'm sitting there watching. I'm watching the documentary. I think it was on Saturday. I watched it, or maybe Friday. I don't know. I was watching it, and I was like, okay, I want to. want to see if there's anything here that me and Kevin could talk about, on Sunday, and definitely want to talk about it. And all of a sudden, Osiris pops up as your research, uh, your vehicle or team or something like that's the acronym that you're using, and I'm like, okay. So there's definitely. It's funny. You're actually my 11th. You're my 11th guest on the show here. I just started the show. I've had Grant Cameron, Laura Eisenhower, Billy Carson, Dave Scott, a bunch of really blessed with a lot of amazing people showing up, and you being the 11th was just lining up just so crazy. Like, so people that know me, like my first channeling was from Osiris from Egypt. Like, I did a spontaneous channeling. It's recorded. It's about to be released. Um, uh, don't know the details of how it's going to be released yet. It might be part of a bigger project. But it's definitely going to, that recording is about 2 hours long, and I spoke as Osiris, and that's the first time that I ever heard the words or anything, and I was speaking of myself like as Osiris. So there's a huge synchronicity that hits me while watching Tear in the Sky, like, and I know there's some part of this conversation that we're going to get to tonight that's gonna be helpful for both of us, I hope, and for the audience. So I'm really looking forward to however that's going to play out. But what is the basis behind Osiris? Like, where did that come from?
Um, that, that is owned by Jeremy McGowan, and he's a former Army um, veteran like yourself. And he had joined UAPX about halfway after about he wasn't one of the original founders, put it that way. And he served as the third point so we could triangulate our main, most of our main gear in the gear that really caught stuff with Dave Mason's gear that was located farther south down in Newport Beach. Jeremy McGowan had gear on his Osiris, and we were able to triangulate objects using his, to get precise altitude, lat, and long.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the what what inspired Osiris being the name of the
Well,
vehicle.
that's a question for him. I have no idea.
Right, right, okay.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
wow, it's just it definitely hit me hard, man. This yeah, Osiris, and definitely people that's in the spiritual, awakening. Egypt keeps coming up a lot, like pretty much every guest. But I wanted to point out that every guest that I've had on, including yourself, there's been some synchronicity that has happened right before the show, or right as the show's starting, to really show me some type of divine connection. So it's really interesting, man. Like, so were you out on any of the night watches for when? So they're out there 5 nights, right?
Yeah, five nights,
Five
four
five
nights,
nights.
4 nights, 5 days, I believe. I unfortunately I had to go back home due to family issues during the middle of the expedition, so I did miss some of it, but I was there for the beginning of it.
Right on. And yeah, so how much footage did they actually have of
Six
what they?
six hundred 600 hours of
Wow.
video footage and terabytes of data. And I'm glad you asked that question, because on the UAPX team we have doctors Kevin Knuth and Matthew Zydagas, are University of Albany, New York physicists, quantum physicists,
Wow.
and they have all of our data. And I mean the 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 spectrum of data collecting gear we had was pretty darn impressive, as people will soon learn if they haven't. At any rate, they're crunching all the data, and they're writing academic papers. They're all going to get peer reviewed, and they'll be published sometime this year, hopefully. And that's also a first. That's the first time that's ever been done.
So how much bona fide data do you or data bona fide footage do you think didn't make the cut? Like, how much do you actually think that didn't make the cut for the documentary? that was actually footage of craft.
Oh, most of it. Yeah.
Wow,
Most of it.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just happening all the time.
No. I mean, it happens often in Catalina. People
Yeah,
catch random glances and stuff, but I mean, we went out there on a whim, think under this notion that if we went there, somehow we were gonna. And Carolyn Corey was going to be happy with just one thing, catching one
yeah,
thing, and she is literally astonished by what we captured. And
yeah. I saw.
I personally believe it happened because we were there. That simple. We were there,
Yeah.
and our intention was to do what we did. And
Now, what
don't ask me why or how, but that's what it seems like to me. Call
did
me
you
crazy.
what what I've been called crazy tons. It's just a
Yeah,
matter, but I think it's part of this journey, man, for sure.
you ain't
That's
kidding.
you just have to do. That's part of it. You have to overcome, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's wow. Yeah, but when you know, and when if you experience if you know something happened and it happened to you, like nobody can tell you any different. Like there's stuff that's happened to me, like most people won't believe, like would never believe, but there's people out there that when hearing my story, they're able to process and share their own experience and start to dissect their own experiences, what that means to them.
And
So
that's
I
why I'm so happy what's happening right now. This is okay to talk about now. It wasn't
yeah,
that long ago when it wasn't. Trust me. People
yeah,
lost careers. I know of people that have from the Nimitz incident that have lost careers, lost spouses, can no longer see their children because, and none of us knew it. I mean, I bet you a lot of us didn't even connect the dots, like I didn't for years and years and years. I didn't connect the dots back to that. I'd moved on,
yeah,
but
it's
it's like you were saying, it's all connected. And you mentioned the serendipity. There's rarely a day that goes by that I don't experience some sort of serendipity.
yeah.
Pretty powerful
I
ones too.
so would if you could go back and change you being involved in this incident back in 2004, would you? Would you not go through it if you had the choice, or would you go through it again and be
Well, that's an easier question to answer right now than it was several years ago. But my answer right now is yes. I would go through it all again because, and I have the advantage of being able to look back and seeing what happened. But when I was going through this, and people were questioning my health, my sanity, and all that, I may have answered differently at the time
yeah,
because I
yeah,
didn't
no,
know.
I get it. You know, there's I've been to conferences. I started going to conferences and talking to people in about 2019 and speaking at different conferences. I met Travis Walton in 2019 at Contact in the Desert.
Hmm.
And before that, listening, my understanding of the ETs are kind of like, they're here to really show us about our relationship to them, like, and see how we are connected to them in a way, and see, I believe in the light and love thing about evolution of these are aspects of ourself from a very far future. Um, and when I heard was talking about Travis before I met him, I just his story and the movie talking about how he got on there and was abducted and hurt and everything. I was like, man, I just don't know. I just don't know how me personally how I felt about him and his story. But when I met him in 2019, he told me that he wouldn't change a damn thing, and it molded him into who he was, and I was like, wow. I was like, this experience is a part of a master plan to help us like evolve as a species, I believe, like in a sense. And um having these experiences is just amazing. I'm so glad that you can share them and not feel bad about it, or not not feel like you're being judged, and actually feel like someone's actually taking in what you're saying. I can definitely sympathize with what you're saying, man. Like, my first book, my book that I published in 2020 is "I'm Perfect and So Are You," and when that title come out, people there was a lot of people was hitting like I was talking about me being perfect, where I'm really talking about the divine order of creation that I saw through my spiritual journey. So, getting into that, like, what has these experiences? Would you say that they've been a catalyst for like like a change in you, like evolution? You talked about abilities and senses and things like that. I have them as well. Like, so, and I know a lot of other people are having being feel like they're being turned on, especially like maybe past 6 months has been a real fast uptake in what I would consider this evolutionary shift. Are you experiencing something like that, Later?
I I am. I've had personal changes. I haven't been well. Just to put it blunt, I haven't looked this good naked in years. No,
That's good.
I'm at a good fighting weight, and I'm not gaining weight, and my labs are all coming back good from the hospital. Knock on wood. And I suddenly have this ability to sing like a bird out of the blue. I'll spare you.
Have you
I mean,
what about
that's my point. It can affect you. I gave an example as a you want to suddenly learn to play the piano. It can be a new talent. I mean, any variety of things. It improves you. And I recently hit. I forgot what astronaut it was, but it was on. I was watching on YouTube, I believe, and they're saying that the astronauts are coming back from space, saying it changed them in a lot of the same ways that we're talking about. I don't know if you've heard some of those interviews, but
I
there's
have
yeah.
I have and you know so my church, we deal with ayahuasca, San Pedro. We help veterans. We started off helping just veterans, and it's expanded just to everybody
Uh-huh.
with traumas. And we have equine therapy here. But we definitely, man, I forgot where I was going. But it's what were we talking about, Kevin? I got kind of thrown off for a second.
It's okay.
Yeah, but we deal with a lot. Oh, the epiphany moment. William Shatner, when he got done with his voyage to space and came back, when he was part of that program a few months back, he come back, and the way he described seeing the Earth from outside, from space, and then being able to connect with the Earth and like really see how everything is connected and the beauty of everything. Then when he came back, what he was saying in that interview, I was like, man, that's what people sound like. I've heard that I've heard that 1,000 times with people coming out of ceremonies with ayahuasca, San Pedro, and even just in meditation or spiritual epiphanies, like they, working with the horses. Like, the reason we have the horses here is when people start working with them, they have spiritual epiphanies happen around them. They have telepathic connections that happen with the horses spontaneously. That's why we have the horses here to facilitate that. So, but ayahuasca and these medicines, they help you see the world as a whole, and not being on it. It's hard to really understand that the earth is alive and a being if you're standing on it as dirt underneath your feet. But if you go out in space and look at earth, it's a lot easier to see that the earth is a living being, and we can start to really understand the process of how things work, even laid out in old Egyptian texts such as the Emerald Tablets. It talks about there would be a time in the future that man would have to look at the earth from space to really understand it, and really understand the connectedness of everything. So it's just amazing, these instances, these uh, astronauts are coming back with, once when they look back at Earth, this epiphany happens. That it's more than just dirt that they're standing on. That this thing's living. They can see it breathing. They can see all aspects of it. So it's just it's interesting. that Shatner had that same experience that sounds just like a review from an ayahuasca ceremony. So what has this meant for you spiritually, Kevin? Here's someone in the chat room
Well,
thank you for sharing your story. Joshua Goodson, he thanks you for sharing your story. One day when I tell my story, I will tell others that you, Kevin, gave me the courage to tell my story. So thank you. That's coming from Joshua Goodson.
that deeply touches me. I have to tell you. Thank you, Jonathan. I hear you, man. Thank you. You're not alone, man. You're not alone. And how did this affect me spiritually? Is I have a personal relationship with God. That's who I work for. I don't have a
Mm,
religion like you do, and I'm not Catholic. I'm not Protestant. I'm not this or that. But and I don't even read the Bible that often. But I know who I work for, and I know what I have to do. As long as I'm here on Earth, I hope to get it done. I hope to do it best of my ability.
I
I know
feel
who I
you.
work
Yeah,
for. I work for humanity. I know it sounds corny as crap that I work for humanity, and I work for the Creator. I work for God.
I, I totally understand it, brother. Like, no, this the church, we do that. You know, we serve ayahuasca here, so it's a church, but we don't have. There's no religion. Like what we teach here is oneness, uh, consciousness, like your own connection, you know, to source or the creator. Have so. Has this affected your dream? You know, I'm sure it's affected many aspects of your life, but has your dreams become, you know, messages for you, or like uh and you can talk about, you, if you don't want to talk about it, you can just let me know, but
Well,
like you're
when this all first started, I was living in Phoenix. I moved there. I was defense contracting, and out of the blue, I'd never had dreams like this. I started having dreams of the eschatological type, end of the world nightmares. Um, I never had stuff, and they were pretty real and vivid. And I ended up contacting Dr. Diana Pasulka at American Cosmic when she wrote American Cosmic, and said, "Yeah, what I'm going through validated your work." And remind where I was going with that. What's the question?
just how it's if it's affected your dreams, and like so and I'm just asking this because I feel like maybe we're all
Oh
going
yeah,
through kind of the same thing, like because
yeah.
my dreams lately have been becoming much more clear. I'm able to remember them more, and it's much more comfortable for me to communicate, if you will. There was a question I wanted to address real quick in the chat room. Joshua was asking for information on our church, Sacred Journeys Within, right there. um, there's, you can check it out, and you can check out there's a place you can buy my books on there, past interviews, and services that we provide here. Also, I want to share this right quick. Down here at the bottom, here's a link for Kevin's latest documentary that he was part of on Amazon.com, A Terror in the Sky. That can be, I think, you can rent it for as low as maybe $3.99 or $2.99, or you can buy it and watch it over and over again. But it's over there on Amazon. Right there's the link. I set that up ahead of time. I want to make sure that I got that at the right moment for you, brother. So give you a little shout out for the documentary. It's a good one. Go over and check it out, guys. Let me get back over to the chat room. I feel like I'm doing so many things at once here, trying to, move everything in between the chat room and keep this going and everything. But yeah, shout out to River Moon Coffee, rivermoonwellness.com. Also, Mountain Herb Rose. You can find promo codes over at Sacred Journeys Within to check that out. Give those guys some support. You can find promo codes for River Moon Coffee over there for your first order over at Sacred Journeys Within. Um, Yeah, just a little top of the hour thing. I'm not going to take a break. I'm just going to share a few things I need to share, and we're just going to keep going so we don't waste any time with Kevin. But I will be coming up on Just Rogies Escape the Simulation at the end of June. I think it's the last Monday in June. I will be on there with Just Rogie coming up. Also, I will be speaking at Zen Awakening Festival in Orlando, Florida in November. Just been taught, and there's a few more conferences and yeah, so some film documentaries and projects that we've been talking about here lately. That's on the burner. Some exciting times for myself and my story, and yeah, really looking forward to a lot of stuff unfolding. And yeah, I got a private ceremony coming up here in still in this month in July. We're still booking for the weekend of the 16th. So we're booking for a two night weekend with Wachuma and which is San Pedro and Chang ayahuasca ceremonies for that. So that's limited to only two people. So that's gonna fill up fast. And yeah, we'll be traveling for a ceremony coming up in August. Just was talking about today. But yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming up, guys. And yeah, just looking forward to sharing a lot of content on this podcast and doing work. And I'm looking forward to traveling and doing some sightseeing of the U.S. This maybe if gas prices can cooperate with us a little bit, maybe we do a little more traveling. But yeah, looking forward to doing some camping and getting out in nature this summer for sure. But yeah, getting back to Kevin, like what's your plans for the summer? You got any hiking plans, camping plans?
Um, the plans got upended that were originally set because of COVID, and everything's just starting to regel right now. So
Uh
I'm
huh.
really keeping an open agenda until things fall into place. And before I forget to ask you, did you say you're having another guest tonight?
No, I'm not.
After me? Well, the
No, I'm
reason
not.
is I don't know if I'm going to be able to make. I didn't realize we were going to be 2 hours. I didn't plan on 2 hours,
Okay.
and I probably didn't
Yeah.
get it in the email. But I
Yeah. No,
can't
we
stay
could.
with you the whole time.
No, we
Essentially,
could. We can sure you. We can let you go. No problem.
okay.
What is what do you got coming up? Like, what you have any future projects you want to talk about? And where can people learn more about you? And what's your message for humanity? Like,
I would encourage people to join me on Facebook. I prefer Facebook over. I know there's a lot of other avenues. I like to use Facebook and email, and I'll give you
uh,
both of those addresses. My Facebook
uh,
is Kevin Kevin dot day day dot 10048. That's me.
okay.
And my email is Kevin M as in Mark Day at yahoo.com. Kevin M Day at Yahoo. And
Kevin M Day at
I
Yahoo.
yeah, fully encourage and support people contacting me, reaching out to me. I don't have
Awesome.
I don't have the answers like they don't, but I sure as heck want to ask them like they do. And I
Yeah.
am
Well, man, I surely appreciate you coming on my show and sharing your story. And yeah, I hope we stay in contact. And I got to have
I
you back
will.
on.
You have my
And
promise. God willing on that one. Yep.
all right, awesome. Yeah, and I definitely want to hear more about this. Whatever you can share about your discoveries. And yeah, I hope I can't wait to hear more about it, brother. And I fully support everything you're doing from the bottom of my heart. I was a person. My job, I had to carry a secret security clearance in the military, so I get the whole thing. Like coming out and having the courage of telling your story is something that burned in me until I had to do it. I'm sure you can sympathize, and I just commend you so much for doing what you're doing. And I'm always here to open up a platform for you to do that, brother. So
Thank you guys, and to all people that are listening now, and we'll catch it later. I highly recommend you go watch A Terror in the Sky. You won't be disappointed. If you are, email me. I'll refund your money for you. I'm not making them. And hey, I am not making a penny off of it, just so you know.
I'm gonna edit that out. I'm gonna edit that
U-
out at the end, but
UAPX UAPX is a nonprofit
yeah.
nonprofit
So,
organization. Yeah.
but what is your final message for the people? Like, not as far as for the
Okay.
just
I
like
have
ju-
this. If you have a UMP encounter, expect number one, or no, number one, they're real. Um, and no, number two, expect to be changed by it, and do not be afraid. Embrace it, because if you embrace it and don't fight it, it's gonna likely improve you in some way, shape, or form. That's my message.
I love that ending, brother. I honor you so much. I appreciate you, and everything that you're doing. I fully support everything. We'll get you back on soon, brother, and you have a good day.
Thank you, guys. Love you
All right,
all. Out.
all right, bye. All right, everybody. That was Kevin Day. Had to step away real quick, and yeah, we may just cut this night short. Um, I would do some reading from my book, but I sent my last copy that last physical copy of my first book that I had to Billy Carson. So I have to get some more copies of those. So yeah, wow, an hour long, and got all that from Kevin Day. It's gonna take me a while to process all that. I've heard a lot of it before, but hearing it straight from him is just amazing. Such an honor to have him on. Again, big shots out to him. Check out Terror in the Sky right there. Carolyn Corey headed up. Kevin Day's part of it. William Shatner's part of it. So go check that out. Support their work. And yeah, just a few bucks to check it out, and it's worth it. Totally worth it. Yeah, yeah, Billy's worth it for sure. I uh I hope he's listening to this. I hope the divine timing has Billy tuning into my show, or someone that has contact with him. I hope he reads it, man, because it's awesome. Oh my god, I got so much to share that I want to. I just can't. Uh, there's so much exciting stuff coming up, guys. Um, yeah, there's projects coming up that's just going to be so amazing. And as soon as I can give you any details on them, I will. I surely will. Next weekend, next Sunday, we got Ruben Langdon coming up. He's going to share his experience. Not only working with uh, his show that he has on Gaia, the interviews with extra dimensionals, but also going to talk about his experience with the Avatar movie, and we're going to talk about his connection to ayahuasca and how he's openly talks about his experiences with ayahuasca and how they changed him, and he also talks about the connection to the first Avatar movie. So he didn't find out. I'll leave that for the show, but it's a good one, guys. Just know that he's if you it's a rarely known part of the interview that he shares, but I heard it on one other show, one of his other interviews, and we're gonna get it here on Eagles Nest podcast next Sunday. It's pretty awesome. But go over to Sacred Journeys Within, support the show if you would be so kind. Give us a like. If you're listening over on Facebook, on over the any of the live channels over on Facebook, please go over to Eagles Nest Podcast on YouTube. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out past content. We got Billy Carson past episodes, Dave Scott. We have Jess Rogie, Laura Eisenhower, Grant Cameron, Joel Lambert, which is a Navy SEAL that is part of a Discovery show, Manhunt, healed through ayahuasca and iboga. Go back and check out their interview with Laura Eisenhower. We talk about her experience with ayahuasca. It's just interesting how this podcast is a part of Sacred Journeys Within, and it's just interesting how doorways open up and messages come through, and ayahuasca is always showing up, um, in the conversation. Hey, Jess, how you doing? Looking forward to coming on your show soon. Just a few weeks, not too long, and I'll be on your show. Yeah, so if you're joining late, here's the new Drew, cut off about 5.5 years of hair growth, and I started the dreads back in October. Yeah, and it was just time. So if you're joining late, um, yeah, there's gonna be no funeral, there's gonna be no memorial services for my hair, but it's yeah, we're gonna auction. I think my wife is talking about auctioning my dreads off, or yeah, and the way things are going, they may be worth some money here in a few years. So you might want to get in there. I'm thinking about, Billy's inspired me. So just let's just be straight out. Billy's inspired me with the NFTs and all that. I think I might make the dreads like NFTs, and take Sacred Dreams Within and Eagle's Nest to Nasdaq. What do you guys think? It's a crazy idea, I know, but you know, Billy's got this thing. It's called like black card holders for his business, his business, forbidden knowledge and everything, and his content. So I'm thinking maybe people I can get him start off on the ground floor with a dread. You know, if and depending on the size of the dread, it could be worth more. I don't know. Just joking, guys. Just joking. But yeah. Thanks, Joshua. Yeah, this is going back to Drew a few years ago. It's been a while since I've looked like this, and it's interesting, Joshua. That I was born the first 5 days of my life. This is a very not well known fact, but the first 5 days of my life, I was Joshua Brandon Robinson before I was adopted. So yeah, that's hey Joshua, nice to have you in the chat room. If you're listening now and you haven't liked the Eagles Nest podcast, give us a like. Hit the subscribe button. Like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications for upcoming shows. You could pretty much count on every Sunday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or we might push it back a little later to go a little later into the night, just because the days are longer now. Um, yeah, but you can pretty much count on every Sunday night plus extra shows that's going to be coming out. I'm going to start doing shows in between because there's just the demand's growing for that people want to get in here a little more to share their message. My guest list is growing every day. Like I said, I got Brad Olson coming up. Don't have him scheduled yet, but definitely coming up coming up in the mix soon. Going to be on Laura Eisenhower's show. Going to have Laura back on my show again soon. Going to definitely be on Justice Show, Escape the Simulation, coming up. Let me see, 27th. 27th, we're going to go late into the night live on Justice Show. Again, looking forward to that. Doing another edition of host to host PM or AM with Jess, and we're going to do it on her show this time. So looking forward to that. That's always fun. To just having a conversation. Again, go over Sacred Journeys Within. Check out my books. I'm Perfect and So Are You. Find Your Inner Guru. Uh, the first book I know is on back order through my website. So if you need to get it right away, you can go over to Amazon.com, type in Drew Banky, and you can find my books that way, or you can type in I'm Perfect and So Are You and find my inner guru, both written with my co-author and writing partner, Colleen Duran, PhD. And yeah, those are that's the best way to get them in, and you can get them digitally for next to nothing, especially the first one. You can get it for next to nothing. They're not on Audible. They're not going to be on Audible but you can get them through the digital copy, and you can play them through Google Talk, and it's almost like an audiobook that way. You can do it that way, but I just it's not in my future plans to make them audible. So if you're waiting for it, please just bite the bullet, spend a couple hours, spend some time with the books and read them. They're great, man. Like they're gonna, it's it's my heart that I put in those books. So, and it helps push this message forward and keep this podcast going and keep Sacred Journeys Within going. Supporting our stuff. If you can, and if you can't, I get it. Um, the digital copy is just a few bucks on the first one, and I try to make everything available to all spectrums of people. If whatever your financial situation, I understand that financial situations flux. God knows I've been up and down my whole life, so I totally get it. But I try to make content available, whatever possible, especially my YouTube, guys. If you haven't liked it, those couple people I see on Facebook Lives, go over and like on Facebook. Like the YouTube channel, Eagles Nest Podcast, if you can. We're streaming over there. We're streaming on both my personal page and Secret Journeys Within page. So yeah, thank you guys for the support. Again, that was Kevin Day. Again, big thank you to him, his partner, and everything, um, and everything they got going on. So much blessings and honor to them. Him sharing his story and how long he's been going through this. I know a lot of us can relate. A lot of us can relate that it's just it, sharing our story is it takes a lot of courage, and Kevin Day is such an example of that. And I'm so honored that he's come on my show to share his story. I hope you guys, if you're joining late, go back and start it from the beginning. You're not gonna be disappointed. Yeah, we had Kevin Day on here again. Honor to him. He was working on the USS Princeton in 2004 during the famous Tic Tac incident, where it's been all over the news, and it's actually part of this introduction. There's a clip of of one of the crafts in the introduction of this podcast that you see every day, and you're going to see it here in just a minute when we do the outro. So yeah, if you don't know about it, read up on it. Go look at the footage. If you don't know about the congressional hearings where Congress talked about UFOs being tracked and everything over the past 40, 50 years, and all these different videos that they have, go it's in archives for Sacred Journeys Within. It was I streamed it a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so. It's in archives on the video, uh, in my YouTube. Go check it out. The UFO hearings. That's an hour long. That's some information come out of there just blow your mind. But Kevin Day was one of the first ones, and he's going to go down in history a part of this incident involving the Tic Tacs, and that's part of his future. That's that's a hard life sometimes, and big shout out to him. And I'm so glad he was able to come on here and share his story in a comfortable environment. That I hope I provided that for him so he could. And yeah, thank you all for being here and supporting this show, and tell your friends about it. We're more followers. We just crossed the 250 mark of subscribers, so we're a quarter of the way to 1,000. We need 1,000 subscribers before we can monetize the show, and that's just going to help us do more things and with the show and everything. So help us out. Tell your friends, and yeah, the even if you don't have a dollar, you can help us out by just sharing the word, telling your friends that each and every Sunday night we're going to have a guest on here, and chances are they're going to have a story that's going to blow your mind. So you can rest assured every Sunday that The Eagles Nest podcast is going to be here with Drew Banky, and I'm going to bring you uh, some really amazing guests, and that's what I strive to do each and every month. I have a ton of new people that I'm going to be scheduling, so go over to Eagles Nest Podcast YouTube channel. Hit that bell for notifications because I have some guests coming up, and I have a feeling that I'm going to have some pop up guests come up in between Sundays that are going to be coming up that I'm going to throw in. And I'm just going to start bringing content. And each and every day, each and every Sunday, I'm going to bring a little bit of the truth. We're going to have a little bit of comedy. We're going to have a little bit of laughs, but we're going to have a lot of truth. And we're just going to have fun. We're going to hang out each and every Sunday. So please support us. Tell your friends. Again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for supporting Sacred Journeys Within, my work. Check out my books if you haven't. Please. You won't be disappointed. And go over and check out Tear in the Sky over at Amazon. My guest tonight that had to take off unexpectedly. I mean, that not by no fault of his own. That was probably my fault for not being clear on the time frame. But yeah, he had to take off. Kevin Day, guys, he was just on here telling his story. If you missed it, rewind, start it from the beginning. You're not going to be disappointed. But go check out his documentary that is in A Tear in the Sky on Amazon. It's a good one. There's some good footage on there. And you're gonna I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but go check it out. It's a good one. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the UFO world. It's an amazing time for us. This is a time to rejoice and really really talk about all our stories. Oh, I got to show you guys my new shirt, Crestone. I was just in Crestone over the weekend and got this shirt, Crestone, Colorado. Love that place. Just there over the weekend, did some hiking. Beautiful place. Yeah, but I'm just rambling at this point. And anyways, you guys have a great rest of your night, and go outside and look up at the sky tonight if and see what's happening. There's all type of stuff happening out there, and if you have a story, if you have an incident, Kevin's message is great. I love it. Know that's going to change your life. Know that's it's going to be a little crazy. It's gonna feel weird to you, but just know that you're not alone, and and tell your story. It's there for a meaning. It's going to change your life for the better. So with that, I am gonna I'm gonna check out early, guys, and go outside and look at the stars. Blessings.